Hello and welcome. We are on chapter 29 of The Rebels, book 1 of the Northwest Uprising trilogy. We are doing it this way because I am currently not at home, so I don't have a physical copy of my book with me. I didn't really feel like packing and carrying a 2.5 pound book on a trip. So we're going to try this format. I hope you enjoy reading along with me. You'll be able to see why I'm making faces when I do. So let's get into it. Chapter 29. Captain! Hey, Cap! The words barely preceded Seahorse, who stepped from the trees to our left. It'd taken us 2 more grueling days to get here, and we'd been afraid that our ride had given up on us. Seahorse's sudden appearance brought glad cries from our throats, and 2 of the girls broke down in tears. We don't have time for hellos, Phoenix snapped, red-faced and exhausted. She and River had carried Jewel today after I'd passed out while carrying the stretcher, and now they were wiped. The inked girl and Doc had half carried me since, and while my mind worked okay, the rest of me was failing miserably. In all the bustle of loading people into the Chimera that Seahorse and Dereva brought, we managed to fill them in on Jewel's shooting and my subsequent use as a blood bag. Doc, in the back, watched over Jewel and the 2 littler ones who'd been harder hit by the withdrawal as Dereva hauled ass out of town. I rested my pounding head against the window and let Phoenix and Sirius fill Seahorse in on the highlights of our misadventures. We'd get into the dirty details back at the lair. I fell asleep listening to them, and I woke when my head was jarred off of Phoenix's shoulder. Contact, two! Seahorse was shouting. Fuck! Screams erupted from the new girls. Sirius! Decoy! I shouted, throwing a helmet her way. It bounced off Dereva's seat and hit Sirius in the chest as she lurched up, angling for the gun hole in the roof. From a distance, Sirius was capable of passing as Korean with her dark hair. No sooner had her head disappeared through the gun port than I found myself shoved to the floor so Phoenix could get her rifle set up. Ease up, kiddo, I advised from my cramped location. Dereva's foot lifted off the gas slightly. We're out on patrol, same as them, bored and arrogant, remember? Hey, anybody got any water? I'm out and dying of dehydration here. Now? Seahorse hissed, tensely watching the other car. What? I'm thirsty! While I looked for a canteen, Steve rolled past us, though nobody relaxed until several minutes had passed. Sirius's re-entry was the signal that the coast was clear. Back on the seat, filled with water, danger gone for now, I started to doze once more. I shouldn't have taken so much, Doc murmured behind me, apologetic. Meh, I yawned, and blackness closed in as sleep swallowed me once more. Arriving back at the lair by a roundabout route took us well into the night. As always, Eleanor met us at the clearing around the lair. She took one look at my pale face and Jewel in the stretcher and whistled sharply. Within moments, people poured out of the bunker. Some gathered the new people, minus Doc, hustling them inside. Anansi joined his sister, holding me upright, and we moved slowly, a 6-legged beast with 2 legs that weren't working properly. Jewel whisked past, carried by fresh hands, followed closely by Doc and Kestrel, who still used a cane. We need... I paused to catch my breath, relief at being back so great I had to blink back tears. We need to get over the job, everything. Go okay for you? Other people can rehash the mission, Eleanor said as she appeared in front of me. You need a bath, water, and rest. Amana! See? The young woman shouted from inside the doorway. Eleanor began calling rapid orders in Spanish. Amana came out of the lair, handed her mother a steaming cup, and responded tersely, then left at a run. Here, set her down for a minute. Eleanor helped the kids lower me and pressed the cup into my hands. I wrinkled my nose at the smell and tried to hand it back. No, Eleanor said firmly. Doctor said you're suffering from blood loss. You will drink this. Now. There was no arguing with that tone. I took the cup, gagging after the first sip. Eleanor glared until I downed all of it. I swallowed the last and closed my eyes to keep my tears in check. I wanted to sleep, and to cry, and to be clean, and at this moment, all of it was too much work. Hands levered me upright and led me along, and I followed obediently, eyelids too heavy to lift. Is she okay? Is she okay? Dereva's voice echoed down a tunnel. Weird. She'll be fine. Eleanor didn't sound any closer. She needs extra care for the next few days, that's all. The heady smell of food wafted around me. Kitchen. Warmth. I swayed. Whoops, steady there, said an unfamiliar woman. I frowned, one hand dropping to my gun, but Eleanor responded without fear. Do you have the bath ready? I heard splashing, then they led me forward. Eleanor ushered everyone away, then I heard a door shut with a click. She began pulling my clothes off, but when she tried to lift my bra, I flinched back. Hands lifted in feeble protest. Don't be difficult, Captain. Eleanor took my hands gently in her own. You'll sleep better if you're clean, and we need to warm you up. It's okay. You can open your eyes. You're safe. I obeyed, and everything slowly swam into focus. We stood in the little mop room just off the kitchen. A half barrel filled with steaming water sat in one corner, propped up with cinder blocks. Eleanor waited patiently for me to get my bearings before reaching for my bra again. I raised my arms compliantly, bending over so the shorter woman could pull it off. Once I stood naked, she helped me into the tub, propping my head and neck on a folded towel, my legs hanging over the end. Eleanor soaped up a cloth, and once she had a good lather, began washing me gently as if I were a newborn. Everything from the past few days, the fear, pain, worry rose up in my throat, and I put a hand over my eyes. Eleanor said nothing when the tears ran down my cheeks, the slow, soothing rhythm of the washcloth never wavering. At a soft knock on the door, she left briefly. When she returned, she pressed another cup into my hand, this concoction smelling and tasting better than the first. Another knock some minutes later, and a bundle of my clothing was placed on a chair. Through it all, the tears never stopped. Though exhaustion had such a grip on me, I didn't have the energy to sob, no matter how much I wanted to. When I was clean to Eleanor's satisfaction, she helped me out, dried me off, and dressed me. Then she sat me down and held me. Finally, finally the sobs came, all the hard emotions pouring out as I wept. I slept for 3 days. Doc hopes Jewel will wake up in a day or two, I informed Phoenix as we went over our gear. It was another post-mission thing that quickly became ritual. Go over your gear and weapons, clean everything, and make sure it was still operational. Necessary, but boring. As long as she doesn't get an infection anyway. The new girls should be better by the end of the week, though who knows exactly how long the drugs will affect them long term. Phoenix grunted, working on her rifle. Keep an eye on them? Shit, yeah. We don't need another thunder and lightning happening. Those girls had tried egging others into playing Russian roulette to prove their bravery. The memory still pissed me off, so I turned my attention back to the stupid sleeping bag on the table in front of me. Fuck me, I snarled. Thanks, but no, Phoenix said dryly without looking up. I gave her the finger, which she ignored. Why'd you offer? It's my damn sleeping bag, I said, holding up the offending item. It's got 3 more freaking holes in it and a nice long tear. On top of the shit I've already patched. It's holier than the fucking Pope. I only got 1 more hole. What are you doing in that thing? The horizontal tango. What do you think? Sleeping, damn it. I keep snagging it on branches or some shit. Blankets. We turned and saw Eleanor had joined us in the common room. Woolen blankets. They're far sturdier, warm when wet, and they can double as outerwear in a pinch. Just look at the Scots. Nah. I turned back to the bag in front of me. I'm allergic to this stuff. Using one would drive me crazy. Like you're not already crazy? Phoenix snorted. There aren't enough rude words in the world to cover what I want to say to you, I informed her primly. We can sew a liner on yours and anyone else who needs it. Eleanor, well used to us by now, simply ignored our childishness. Easy enough, and we have plenty here. They're bulkier than your bag, so I'm thinking we'll just replace them as they wear out. Make the blankets the measure of last resort. I looked at Phoenix. She raised her eyebrows and shrugged. Why not? I nodded and we turned to Eleanor. Yeah, sure. They gave me the first woolen blanket, and I didn't shiver at all my first night out. I'd forgotten what it was like to sleep under the open sky and not have a cold ass. A few days after the conversation with Eleanor, Doc showed up at the gym during training. We were split into two groups doing strength training, hand to hand, and tumbling, everything we could think to throw at them. Doc watched us, then waited until my wobbly match with Phoenix finished to wave me over. She had a towel and water waiting, and I took them gratefully. I wiped my face and swiped the towel between my breasts before taking a long drink of water. So, what's up, Doc? I asked, grinning. Phoenix cracked up while Doc just rolled her eyes, exasperated. This is getting real old, real fast, she sighed. I sniggered. Couldn't help it. Anyway, you summoned? Jewel woke up. Doc smiled. Properly woke up, I mean, not just to eat, drink, and fall asleep again. She'd like to see you. Me? I was taken aback. Does she want to yell at me? On my left, not even hiding her interest, Phoenix grimaced. Just talk to her. Oh, and then you can visit the new girls. They're finally over the worst of it and are ready to pick names. Okay. Not really sure why they needed me to pick names, but I figured it couldn't hurt to humor them. Lord knows those kids had been through enough. Jewel must have painted her door sometime, and I'd never paid attention. I vaguely remember seeing a similar site, and it was called Impressionism? I shook my head and opened the door slowly in case Jewel slept again, but she sat up, propped in place by pillows. How's it going? I asked, taking the chair left next to the bed. Okay. Jewel seemed unusually subdued, though that likely has something to do with the bullet. I just wanted to thank you. Doc and Eleanor told me everything you guys did, even after... Ah, no problem. I waved it away, ducking my head. We all get out, you know. Yeah, she sighed, leaning her head back. I should let you get some rest. I stood up. No! Her hand shot out, gripping my wrist. I had one more thing. We're not all making it out of this. I grimaced, although it was true. I realized that if I hadn't made it, nobody could have told my parents someday because nobody knows who I am. We need some kind of record. We need it. Jewel shifted in the bed, agitated, hands plucking at the blankets as if she'd storm out of bed in an instant. I did the only thing I could and assured her I'd get right on it, then hurried to call Doc. My next stop was the small barracks Doc had converted into a sick room, and the girls in it. They sat on the floor, a pile of cards in the middle with a few more held in their hands. Crazy eights. I wondered who taught them. My parents had showed me, but I hadn't played since I was a kid. Can I join? I gestured to the floor, then plopped down when they made no protest. They stared at me, mouths open. What? I asked. I just never seen an adult sit on the floor before, the little one whispered. You saw me sitting and sleeping on dirt, I reminded her. That's different. We didn't have no chairs. Stick around, kiddo, and you'll see me do a lot of other things you never seen adults do before. I promise. I grinned at her odd face. Doc tells me you guys want to pick names. Yeah, but... The oldest, the one with tattoos, hesitated. We're not sure what's acceptable. I considered that. Well, I wouldn't choose ice cream, but that's because too many of us would cry at the reminder. They giggled. So other than that, anything goes. Some have been named for their pasts or stuff they like, so, go nuts. Abandoning their game, they discussed it, sometimes laughing, sometimes serious, as they tried to decide what name they'd be known by. I gathered the cards and shuffled them, setting up a game of solitaire while I waited, and offering an opinion if they asked. In the end, the tattooed girl settled on ink. It's short, it's sweet, and it's to the point. Feisty was the girl I'd had to punch, and she remained proud of the fact that even being out of her mind on drugs, she'd been that much trouble. Next was Squirrel. I don't know where she got it, something about a TV show. The girl looked to be the same age as Feisty and Dereva, about 15. Last, but definitely not least, we had Mouse. Small, nimble, and, it turned out, actually 13 years old, though she could easily pass for 10. Both she and Squirrel had braces, and I wondered how we were going to remove those things. Once their names were selected, the nervous energy that kept them moving lulled, and soon they were yawning. I helped them back into bed and headed off to find Eleanor. I couldn't think who else might figure out how to put Jules' plant wish into action. All right. Thank you so much for sticking with me. There were a couple of pauses because I did have to stop the video, but we're through it. If you enjoyed this, please like and share, or at least comment. It helps with engagement and, lets Jay know she's not alone in watching these videos. All right. We will see you next week.